Immortals, traveling through time, fighting with swords, impacting and changing the course of human history as we know it. I'm talking about Highlander, right? Not so fast. I'm actually talking about Netflix's The Old Guard. Although it sounds pretty similar, we're going to be talking about it coming up. So there's a new movie that just premiered on Netflix, and it's called The Old Guard. It stars Charlize Theron and Kiki Layne. It is directed by Gina Prince Blythewood, and it's written by Greg Rucka, who also wrote the comic that the movie's based off of. So this is technically a comic book movie. Now, the interesting thing is, it deals with immortals that are traveling through time. They can't be killed, or they die, but they come back to life. They seem to be able to sense each other, see visions of each other, know kind of situations that are going on around each other. And they use swords. Sounds familiar, right? It's very much in line with the Highlander lore. Although there's differences. It's not an exact ripoff, but it's very similar. So if you like Highlander, you will probably like this movie, and probably the comic book that goes with it. From my understanding, the film pretty much is in line with the comic book. They don't change too much. There's little things here and there, but it's pretty much in line. It is written by the same person, so that helps, of course. Now, we've heard that the Highlander franchise might be getting a reboot with Chad Stahelski, who was the director of, or is the director of, the John Wick franchise. We know that's coming. Now, this movie is very reminiscent of the John Wick style. It's really well directed. The fight choreography is pretty entertaining, pretty top notch. It seems like similar choreography to John Wick. I think the John Wick franchise is changing the way fight scenes are being choreographed and filmed. Now, you know, we had kind of like the old style of fighting, and then with the Bourne movies, we changed to more of like a shaky camera, really up close hitting. You couldn't really tell what was going on. You saw the Bond movies kind of sort of take that route as well, and now we've got the John Wick movies, which are making things a lot more kind of close combat, but acrobatic, but efficient. A lot of judo throws, and you can see what's going on. You see the moves. It's instead of having the shaky cam, they want you to see the artistry of these fight scenes. And now I think it's influencing a lot of the film franchises, and it will be going forward. And The Old Guard is definitely a film that has been definitely influenced by the John Wick franchise. And that's a good thing, because the fight scenes are really well done. So this movie basically takes place in modern times, although there are flashback scenes, just like Highlander. There are a group of, I think it's 5 immortals that have been around for several hundred years. I don't think we know the exact time. The Charlize Theron character, whose name is Andy, has been around the longest that we know of. And there's another character, an Asian character, who I think was Japanese in the comics, but she's Vietnamese in the movie. I think that's one of the minor changes, but I think it's because it's played by a Vietnamese actress. So, you know, it was more of a change of convenience. They didn't really change too much of it other than that. But those 2 characters are the oldest immortals that we know of. And then we find Kiki Layne, who's an army soldier who gets killed in battle. There's a little bit of a spoiler alert, so if you haven't watched the movie yet and you want to watch it before knowing too much, stop here, go watch it, come back. There's your warning. So Kiki Layne gets killed in battle, wakes up, and she becomes an immortal. So people can become immortals just like Highlander. Now, there's not the beheading part that we see in Highlander. However, they do use swords and battle axes, so it's pretty cool. The fight scenes are well choreographed. It kind of has that gun fu style that John Wick is known for. They're fighting with the guns and the swords all at the same time. They use the guns, as weapons, and all the spin moves with the shooting and a lot of the judo throws combined, so they call it like gun fu. Where it sort of differs is that they run out of time eventually, so they're not immortal. They're not fighting each other. Like in Highlander, you have the gathering, which will be, it's all the last immortals that are left, and they take each other's heads for the quickening. The last one will get the prize, which is all the other, all the quickenings. As an immortal in Highlander, or in the Highlander franchise, you take their quickening into you, and it kind of becomes part of you. So in the end, there can be only one. It has whoever it is will have all the power of the immortals. This isn't that way. They will lose their immortality at some point, but they don't know when. So it does add like a level of, I guess, danger, a little more of a threat, because they never know if this time when they die they might not come back. There's no indication. They just one time, they get injured and they don't heal as well. So if you were to be killed in that state, you would stay dead. Raises the stakes a little bit, because in Highlander you have the threat of other immortals coming after you to take your head, so that's the threat there. Where here they don't have that, but they're going to run out of their immortality eventually. There is a CIA agent in this film, and he kind of acts as the Watcher from Highlander, especially the series. You have Joe Dawson, who is kind of one of the Watchers who chronicles the history of the immortals. Now in Highlander, the Watchers, they go back throughout time, and they've always kind of been watching them. They're always aware of them. In the Old Guard, the CIA agent has just kind of found out what was going on more recently. He's the first one to discover this, and he's kind of putting together this picture. He's finding news articles and stories of each one of their pasts, and how they've kind of impacted human history. It is similar in that aspect too, where you have this sort of Watcher character who is watching over them, and in the end of the film, he turns evil at some point. Well, he doesn't turn evil, but he does something evil, but has good intentions. But of course, it's not right, and that's kind of the main storyline that gets the main storyline going of the film. And in the end, he ends up kind of in a position where he has to help them, but he kind of wants to. He has a respect for them, because he didn't really want to hurt them. He was just trying to help for his own selfish reasons, and in the end, he kind of joins them. So he will be sort of their Joe Dawson, so to speak, if you've seen the Highlander series. The villain is a little bit over the top. You really don't like him. It's based on a comic book, so you have that aspect, although the rest of the film doesn't really feel like a comic book movie. It definitely, again, like has that John Wick style, so it doesn't feel like it's a comic booky at all, except for the slightly over the top villain. He's like really evil beyond, but slimy evil. He's just not like malevolent evil. He's kind of slimy where you just hate him, and you're just like, oh my god, kill this guy. So there's that aspect as well. But overall, it's very entertaining. It's well directed. The story's good. I'm glad that they kept with the writer of the comics, so therefore you're going to get a story that's done with the same passion as the comic was done. Whether you like it or not, that's up to you, but at least it's the same vision. Far too often these days we have movies that are done by people that seemingly don't care or know anything about the franchise they're writing for, and it's frustrating, and it spawned the Phantom Menace amongst other groups that talk out about, like, stop giving us crap that you clearly don't care about. You're just using it to push agendas, and you're not really caring about the story or the lore. In this case, you do have the original writer, so that's a plus in my book, that you have someone that gives thought and care to the lore that he himself created, so that's a plus. I would say check it out. It has elements of Highlander, so if you're into that kind of thing, but it's different enough where it's not an exact copy, and it has the fight style of the John Wick movies, so you've got that too. And Charlize Theron, I'll tell you, I think she did a movie called Salt, if I'm correct, where she again plays like a secret agent that has a lot of fight scenes, so she's familiar with the choreography, and she sells it. They make a good use, like the John Wick movies, they make a good use of space, they make good use of efficient moves. It's efficiency to get the job done quick. And of course she's an immortal, so she's had a lot of practice, and you believe her. I believe the fight scenes are done well, where I don't question that she can kick ass, because she's a good actress too. She sells it. And so Kiki Layne as well. She really plays the newer Immortal well. She's not like super power or overpowered or anything. She doesn't just fall right into a role. She's a soldier, so I buy that she catches on quickly because she's trained for it. She does a good job with the character. I really liked Kiki Layne in this. The whole cast was good. I really enjoyed the whole cast. So I would say check it out if you if this kind of thing interests you. If you're a Highlander fan, you probably will enjoy this movie. It has a lot of elements, but I still enjoyed it. I didn't feel like I was just watching a ripoff of Highlander. So that's kind of my, if you do it well enough, you're willing to forgive a lot of the little things that are like, a little too similar, because it's good. I'm enjoying it, so I'll let it be. All right, guys, let me know in the comments down below. If you have not subscribed to the channel, give me a thumbs up on the video and hit that little subscribe button right there. You click it once, it's free, and you're good to go. And hit the little bell, and then you'll know when the videos come out, so you won't miss a thing. I think I'm getting close to 500 subscribers now, which is amazing. I really want to try to hit that by the end of the month. So, share the video if you can. If you like my content and you like the channel and you want to help me grow, please do so. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, lock the doors and hope they don't have blasters.